the presentation for you. Okay, welcome everyone. We'll just give it 30 seconds to let some people join in. But thank you everybody for joining. We're really excited about our program evaluation info session today. Yeah, we can get started now. My name is Mashur Chaudhry. I am the manager of recruitment and sales, Chang School. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the land on which Toronto Metropolitan University is built upon. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and the Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. I want to pay my respects to the Indigenous peoples, elders, and ancestors who stewarded and cared for nature and the people who lived on the land where TMU is located today. At the university, we have made a deep and long-lasting commitment to truth and reconciliation. I invite you to learn more about this work online. Now, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's session. Your microphone is muted throughout the event so as not to disturb other attendees or presenters. For the hearing impaired, we have automated captioning available, which you can access by activating it in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions to today's presenters by typing your questions into the question box of the control panel. And you may send in your questions at any time during the session, but we'll answer them at the end of the presentation today. I'd now like to introduce our guest speakers for today. Aubrey Wilson, Program Director of Continuing Education here at the Chang School, and Fiona Deller, one of the instructors of the program, who currently is also a consultant at Fiona Deller and Associates. So now I want to invite our Program Director of Continuing Studies, Aubrey Wilson, to go over a brief overview of the certificate. Thank you, Aubrey.
Thanks so much, Mashur. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us this afternoon for the information session on the fully online postgraduate certificate and program evaluation. As Mashur said, my name is Aubrey Wilson, and I'm the Program Director for Continuing Education at the Chang School. And I'm thrilled to guide you through this exciting opportunity that can enhance your career prospects and professional skills. So let's take a moment to go over some quick facts about our postgraduate certificate program in program evaluation. I'm sure, do we have a slide deck that goes with this too, just in case people want to follow along visually?
Yeah, this is the slide deck. Randall, if you could go to the next slide.
Oh, okay, for some reason it's not showing up on my screen. Interesting. Okay. Well, no worries there. Okay, so firstly, this program is delivered fully online, so it offers the flexibility to study from anywhere. You'll progress through 4 courses that are taken in sequence, which will allow you to build on your knowledge systematically. The program can be completed in as little as 1 year, but you do have up to 3 years in case you need a little bit more time to balance your studies with other commitments. And the total cost of the program in all 4 courses ranges from approximately $3,800 to $3,900 Canadian. So to join, you'll just need an undergraduate degree or equivalent professional experience. Now, if you're unsure as to whether your qualifications meet the admissions requirements, don't hesitate to reach out to our client services team. They're here to help you navigate the process and answer any questions you might have, whether that is you're exploring the program, not sure about the qualifications, not sure if the program's a good fit for you. Our client services team is here to support. So with that overview, let's discuss who this program is designed for. So firstly, it is perfect for those who already hold an advanced degree in a research-intensive field. So that could be business, humanities, health, or another area, and who are now seeking a career transition outside of academia. So if you're looking to apply your already honed research skills to new and impactful ways within the field of program evaluation, this program will offer the specialized knowledge and credentials you need to make that shift. Secondly, our program is designed for professionals who are already working in the program evaluation field, might be looking to pivot or to advance their careers. So if you're seeking to deepen your expertise, to take on more significant responsibilities, or to move into leadership roles within your current organization or beyond, this certificate will equip you with the tools needed to achieve those goals. So whether you're transitioning from an academic setting or you're aiming to advance in your current career path, this program is designed to help you succeed in the field of program evaluation. So let's explore the key outcomes that you can expect to achieve upon completing this program. So, first, you'll be equipped to apply core philosophies, theories, and ethical considerations in your evaluation practice. The foundational knowledge will guide your approach to every aspect of program evaluation. You'll also learn how to utilize a range of evaluation tools and methodologies in a manner that's not only appropriate, but equitable and ethical. This means being able to select the right tools for the job while ensuring your evaluation practices are fair and just. So, taking a human centered approach and understanding how to work with clients and other interested parties is critical to any evaluation practice. You'll learn how to work with diverse audiences and apply these skills and core practices in assessing needs, defining the scope of an evaluation, and selecting the optimal methodology. You'll understand how to design evaluations that are both effective and aligned with the specific needs of your clients. And a unique and essential component that this program incorporates is recognizing the impact of social and political systems on vulnerable and historically marginalized populations during evaluations. You'll develop an understanding of how to conduct evaluations with an acute awareness of these dynamics, ensuring your work is inclusive and socially responsible. And finally, you'll be able to make actionable recommendations, whether it's improving programs, driving organizational change. Your recommendations will be rooted in thorough analysis aimed at achieving tangible, positive results. So these outcomes will prepare you to excel in the field of program evaluation, ensuring that your work not only meets the needs of professional standards, but also contributes to meaningful social change. So let's take a closer look at some of the key highlights of our program certificate or postgraduate certificate and program evaluation. So most importantly, the program is designed to be flexible. So it's completely online, allowing you to study from anywhere and to fit your coursework around your existing commitments. The flexibility makes it easier to balance your education with work, family, and other responsibilities. In addition to the flexibility, the program includes live synchronous sessions, and these sessions provide you with the opportunity to engage directly with your instructor and your peers in real time, fostering a collaborative learning environment that enriches your understanding of the material. Another standout feature is our focus on practical assessments. These assessments are designed to mirror real world scenarios, ensuring that what you learn is immediately applicable to your professional practice. So you won't just be learning theory, you'll also be putting it into practice in ways that reflect challenges that you will face in the field. And finally, the program outcomes are mapped to the competencies established by the Canadian Evaluation Society, or CES. This alignment ensures the skills and knowledge you gain are recognized and valued within the professional community, preparing you to meet the standards of a program evaluator in Canada. So these highlights underscore a commitment to providing a learning experience that's not only flexible and engaging, but also directly relevant to your career and program evaluation. So now let's discuss a couple of the diverse career pathways that this postgraduate certificate can open for you. So, graduates of this program will be well prepared for a variety of roles within the field of program evaluation and beyond. Some of the key positions you might consider are program evaluator, program specialist, program coordinator, and program manager. And for those interested in roles that bridge research and practical application, you may consider knowledge transfer specialist, research and program evaluation analyst, or research impact specialist. And finally, if you have a keen eye on detail and a focus on standards, you might consider quality assurance specialist as a career. So these career pathways highlight the versatility and the value of the skills you'll gain in the program, preparing you for a dynamic and impactful career and program evaluation related fields. So that concludes my proportion of the presentation on the postgraduate certificate and program evaluation. I hope this overview has provided you with some valuable insights into what our program offers, from the flexibility and practical focus to the diverse career pathways available to you. And again, like Mashur said, please feel free to ask questions in the chat. We're more than happy to answer them for you at the end of the presentation or follow up after. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Dr. Fiona Deller, the principal at Fiona Deller and Associates. Dr. Deller is a seasoned consultant with over over 25 years in the public sector and senior and executive roles. She's also the course developer and the instructor for the fourth course in the certificate. Dr. Deller brings a wealth of experience, and I'm sure you'll find her insights incredibly helpful as you consider joining our program. Thank you.
Thanks, Aubrey. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, so that there'll be lots of time for questions, because I think that's hopefully where the real sort of meat of this will be. So a quick introduction about myself. Aubrey, of course, has given the highlights. Thank you very much. My sector has been education and the labor market for most of my career. I started out in government. I've been in government agencies for most of my career. I started my own consultancy about 6 years ago. But I worked at the Higher Education Quality Council of Ontario. I worked at the Council of Ministers of Education Canada, and most recently at Future Skills Centre. So sort of a broad array of government agencies. And the reason that this is important is because over time, the emphasis on evaluation and program evaluation in funding agencies or government agencies has escalated exponentially. And I'll talk about that in a minute, but I also wanted to talk about part of my background around academically. So my doctorate was based in evaluation theory, mostly random control trials and quasi-experimental design. And that has been a really interesting jumping off point for me in terms of understanding evaluation theory. And when we think about emerging trends in evaluation, and this is where I think this course is, or this certificate is really, really exciting, is that even in the last 10 years that I've been teaching program evaluation, and I've been engaged in program evaluation at the agency level, you've seen this real trend away from the more sort of formalized, what used to be considered the gold standard of RCTs or random control trials, still incredibly important in medical trials and in the healthcare sector. But you're seeing this sort of trend towards more sort of learning in complex environments, which requires different types of approaches, different community-based approaches, participatory evaluation, developmental evaluation, ways of learning and innovating with community, very often with vulnerable populations, as the evaluation is taking place. And at the same time, which is, I think, incredibly exciting and incredibly sophisticated in terms of the way that we think about evaluation. And at the same time, you're seeing government funders, private sector funders like banks with their social impact funds become more and more interested in evaluation, and more tying funding to understanding what's working and what's not working, and trying to really emphasize the need to evaluate what's happening with government funding and with social impact funding. So you see an emerging field. Michael Quinn Patton talked about over 100 types of evaluation. Different people count different ways, but there is an escalating different types of evaluation in the field, and that's only going to become more sophisticated and more expanded as we go along, which I think means that it's a great time to become an evaluator, and it's a great time to study evaluation. What else can I say about evaluation? I think in terms of skills or thinking about making that transition into program evaluation, it really depends on where you're coming from, right? Qualitative researchers, quantitative researchers approach evaluation in different ways. I'm a qualitative researcher, so I think about evaluation very much from a people perspective, but there is a lot of opportunity for quantitative researchers to get involved in evaluation and think about how data is used. Increasingly, we're thinking about data ownership, data stewardship, data ethics in relation to program evaluation. That's a really interesting piece of evaluation that is becoming more sophisticated as well. So I think I'll stop there, but I'm more than happy to answer questions.
Thank you so much for that, Fiona and Aubrey. It really gives our attendees here a nice little overview, but then also that perspective that you provided, Fiona. I think it complements that really well. We do have a couple of questions that came in. The first one, this is actually a question from that we received previously in an email, is about does the certificate cover theory of change and logic models as a topic of discussion?
Absolutely. Theory of change and logic models are two of the most fundamental tools associated with program evaluation. So it's sort of like, you know, if you're building a table, the legs are theory of change and logic models. That's your starting point. You can get really creative about what your table looks like, but theory of change and logic models will always be part of the fundamentals of program evaluation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next question is from Samira. Samira, thank you for your question. Is this field only for people who are researchers or have background in research, or can, you know, other people can also attend?
Absolutely not. I mean, I think that traditionally program evaluation has come out of research fields. Economists, sociologists, all sort of, there's a natural trajectory towards program evaluation. But you can learn a lot of the research skills you need to be a program evaluator. I think the fundamental skill that you probably need to be a program evaluator is an interest in creative problem solving. Because program evaluation is essentially, how do we know if this worked? Why did it work? Why did it not work? And for whom? And research methods are the way of answering those questions. So that is definitely a part of it. But really, there are so many ways to unpack those questions and to think about them, and to think about what kind of tools you need to be able to answer those questions. And some of those tools are research tools, but some of those tools are also people skills, facilitation skills. There's a whole range of skills that go into program evaluation.
Perfect. And just to add to that question, it was additionally, will it cover grant design from the evaluation criteria perspective?
I can try to answer that question, although it's sort of a it's a bit amorphous, so I'll try to hit it on the head. Grant design, if what is being asked is how is evaluation built into grant design? In this course, we don't design grants, but we could. But I'm assuming that the other courses, the other courses, and mine I know will cover how evaluation can be built in really early in grant design, should be built in from the beginning. You run into trouble with grant design when you tack evaluation on at the end, which is something that has historically happened a lot. But as I said, the field is getting much more sophisticated about that. One of the things that I actually do as a consultant is I help small cause-driven organizations design granting programs. And we talk a lot about how and when to build in the evaluation design into that. So I expect it will come up over the course of the certificate, although I don't think it will be like a focus of the certificate.
Yeah, exactly, Fiona. It is covered in course number 2 as well, but like Fiona said, it's not a major focus of the program. We do, although the school at the Chang School, we do offer courses in grant writing and grant design. So those could be possible, nice additional courses or programs that you might want to consider if that's a very specific area that you're looking to delve into.
Awesome. Thank you both Fiona and Aubrey for that. I think that gives us a really good answer about grant design. And yeah, even I'm curious just to see what are some of those other courses that we offer for those. I'm going to combine 2 questions. It's about the same topic from Janelle and Rocky. Thank you for your question. It's about the winter course. When will it be available? Because it looks like it's not there right now.
Yeah, great question. So right now we're working on the scheduling for the winter course. It will be offered starting in March 2025, so a little bit into the winter term, but you can expect to see the schedule posted sometime within the next couple of weeks.
Perfect. Thank you. Next question is from Mariam Ibrahim. Thank you for your question, Mariam. What type of practical experience can a participant expect to engage in this program?
That's a great question. Thank you. So we are designing all of the assessments, all of the activities for interactivities. So you'll have a lot of opportunities in the program to learn about different things, take some time to reflect, and then actually apply them, get some feedback from your instructor, get some feedback from other learners, and interact with your peers as well. So each course has a variety of different assessments built in, and a lot of them are scaffolded throughout the courses. So as you work on your assessments throughout the course, you're building up to a final deliverable. So we try to make them smaller and incremental so they're easier to fit in with your schedules. Everybody's busy, so we understand that. We're also looking to build in points so that you have an opportunity to connect with your expert instructor to get feedback before you move on to the next area. So for example, in some of the courses, you might be building out logic models. You might be learning about how to conduct a focus group, work with different interested parties. We're trying to make everything very practical so that whatever you're doing in your coursework, you can transfer right back into your professional setting, or you can be more prepared for an interview or when you're actually in the field. But Fiona has a lot of practicality built into her course, so she might want to talk about some of the specific assessments that she has.
Sure. I mean, just building on what you said, Aubrey, because you already covered quite a bit. In my course, we think about survey design, focus groups, one-on-one interviews, semi-formal interviews, and so the assessments are built around actually practicing those skills, building surveys. What's the best way of building surveys? How do you think about the recipient of the survey and how they might be receiving the questions and that sort of thing. So it is very practical. And I know that is scaffolded in the different courses as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to combine a bunch of questions again. We have similar questions regarding time commitment, workload, and the flexibility. Pretty much, how flexible is the online format, and can it be completed while working full-time?
That's a great question. Thank you for those. Yes, the intention is to make the certificate program, the courses, as flexible as possible so that you could complete them successfully while working full time. That to be said, the courses are meant to be done in sequence, so one at a time. And that is intentional so that you're building on your knowledge as you go through. It also is because, you really wouldn't, if you're working full time, it might be a lot to take on for 2 courses. So we recommend taking one course at a time, laddering through as you go through. On a weekly time commitment, you're probably looking around 6 to 7 hours of additional work. And that includes things like reading, watching videos, maybe attending a live synchronous session, potentially collaborating with your peers, working on different types of deliverables. One thing that's really unique about these courses and with our other postgraduate programs at the Chang School is that we have live synchronous sessions. Some of those sessions will be for you to interactively engage with your peers, with the instructor, working on different maybe case studies, practice scenarios in those sessions, maybe labs. But a unique feature is that we're actually building in time for you to do group work. So if your course has group work, you'll be given time back in those live synchronous sessions to collaborate with your group, we're hoping that'll make it a little bit easier when it comes to scheduling and finding time to collaborate with other folks so that you don't have to take as much time maybe out of your workday or out of your personal time. So we try to make it as flexible as possible. And like I said, we do try to scaffold assessments where possible. So you're doing shorter, you may have more assessments, but they're going to be shorter and more easily manageable within your commitments and other time schedules.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And, I totally agree. One of the things, not just about this certificate, but about most of our certificate is the flexible learning options that we have. And when talking to learners, that's one of the things that they appreciate the most, is because a lot of them are juggling multiple things. They're working full time, they have a family at home. So a lot of them are doing the one course per term, although some of them do take more than one course. But, that's where the synchronous and asynchronous components come in. And I think our flexibility is a huge strength there. Okay, so next question is about Indigenous evaluation approaches. Does the certificate review how to align evaluation with OCAP principles or OCAP principles?
OCAP principles, yes, absolutely. We have 1 week in my course devoted to OCAP and ECAP, which are, and we talk a lot in those in that module, both about data ownership and data stewardship, but also about different approaches to evaluation. Andrea Johnson, who is a colleague of mine who I've worked with before, has developed an entire framework for Indigenous evaluation, which we'll be bringing in. I may even try to get her to speak. I don't want to promise, but yes, it is very much part of my course, but I also know it is part of some of the other courses. Research methods, I believe, are also bringing in Indigenous principles of evaluation into part of what they do. So yes, absolutely is the answer.
Perfect. Thank you, Fiona. Next question is about support. The question is, what kind of support is available for students that are taking the course?
So that's a really good question. So I'm not really sure exactly how to answer that because I think support kind of branches a lot across a lot of different areas. So Chang School offers layered different types of support. So starting off as you are now, you're looking into the program, you're thinking, is this a good fit program for me? So we do offer different types of career advising support. So Dave could probably speak a little bit more to that. So in terms of helping you decide, what's just going to be the best fit program for me. Once you're in the course, you can rely on your client services team to provide you with any information that you might need about logistics, policy, any overarching administrative questions. You can also tap into your instructor's expertise for things that are content related. We have IT support resources available for you as a learner. And then also, once you've enrolled in a course with the Chang School, you also get access to career support services for up to 5 years after you complete your program. So that can also help you at any point in your program, whether it's, you're in the midst of your first course or you're in course number 4, and that's when you're looking more at career specific things. We do have a career advisor that you can meet with. We have a lot of great opportunities there, like flash mentoring, industry guides, things like that. But I might let Dave speak a little bit more to what you might expect from looking at things from a prospective learner perspective.
Great, thank you, Aubrey. Yeah, I think Aubrey covered most of the supports available. As she mentioned, my role as an academic and career advisor is primarily on the decision-making side of things. So for a lot of prospective students and students who are earlier on in their journey, trying to map out what that journey looks like and making appropriate choices at the Chang School or elsewhere to help meet those needs. And there's both myself and Abby, who's not at this meeting. There's the two of us who both act as career and academic advisors. And then our career education specialist, Dina Marcos, who's also not here. As Aubrey mentioned, if you're a current student, you have access to her services, and she's specializes more in transitioning from a program into the workforce. So assisting with things like job search and resume and interview assistance, those types of things. And I would just additionally add that as a current student, you have access to basically all the same academic resources that a degree student would have. So that includes library services, but it also includes support from the Academic Accommodation Support Office if you are a student with a disability. And there are supports offered through the Student Learning Center if you are requiring some feedback on, for example, a piece of writing or something like that, that you can meet one-on-one with grad students through the SLC for those kinds of services as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dave. And thanks for helping in with that information. Next question is Adrianan. The question is, are there opportunities for experiential learning beyond the assessments that are already described, or any opportunities for networking?
Great question. Thank you. So, in terms of networking, absolutely. And that's one of the intentions of incorporating group work into the courses. It's, program evaluation, much like any other field, you're at some point going to need to work with others. So it's a really good time to practice your project management, your communication skills, but it's also a really good time to get to know other people that are going to be coming up in the field with you and to establish those connections really early. So in every course, we offer the opportunity to kind of get an overview of who's in the course with you. You've got your introductory forum, so you can read about the other people that are in your course. Then you'll also have opportunities for small group work scenarios. So maybe 4 or 5 other learners in that assignment with you that you'll work throughout the course with. So you'll get an opportunity to really know people on a deeper level. We did have a little bit of a question about group assignments and how many are there in the course. It varies depending on the course, but we always try to build something in so that you have the opportunity to connect with people above and beyond. Your instructors are all subject matter experts who are working in the industry, so they are really good opportunities there to connect with working industry professionals who can give you some insights into their experience and what they've had coming up in the field. And then depending on the course, as Fiona mentioned, we might have some guest speakers that come in that you could also connect with and utilize those for your networking opportunities there as well. And in terms of experiential learning, all of the courses have, scenarios built out so that you as the learner coming in don't have to have any particular project that you're bringing with you. So you don't have to come front loaded with something. So don't worry if you're not working in program evaluation, or maybe you don't have something that you can share because the information is proprietary or it's sensitive. But if in any case there are opportunities for you to bring in your own project, you can always coordinate with your instructor to determine if that's an appropriate opportunity to bring something in for you. In terms of things like co-op experiences, unfortunately, we don't offer those. But looking forward, we're always interested in working with employers to bring more real-world scenarios into the classroom. And we do work with program advisory councils, curriculum committees that are made up of industry experts. And those folks do, in addition to the course developers, do contribute to the assessment design. So most of the things that you're going to see in the course, like I said before, are really practical, and they'll give you the opportunity to practice things you're going to put it forward into real world scenarios. And they may even give you some example deliverables in case an employer, say in an interview, would like to see an example of your work. You might be able to pull some of your assessments as examples of how you've applied your knowledge.
So the next question is from Samira. It's about if we could speak to the 11-week intensive versus the regular program cadence.
I'm not sure I understand the question, as we don't offer an intensive for this program.
Yeah, there is no intensive for this program. So Samira will be happy to answer or get in touch with you and see what exactly you're asking, and we can get back to you on that.
One thing I will say, if you are looking at other programs and you are considering, an intensive versus more like, program structured much like this, where you're going to 11, 13-week courses in succession, it really depends on your learning preferences and what you're bringing, what prior knowledge you're bringing to the table. So if you're someone who's very experienced in program evaluation and you are really looking to do a knowledge refresher, you're looking to maybe do some networking, you're already coming with a fulsome skill set, something like an intensive may be a really good fit for you. If you're not coming with those things, or you're the type of learner that likes this a little bit more reflective, you like to take some time, you like to get more feedback, you want to do more deep networking, then a program that is structured similarly to ours might be a better fit. It really is just going to depend on, for you as a learner, what's your preference, what's your timeline that you're looking to achieve. And then also I would definitely recommend taking some deep dive looks at what you're coming to the table with, because intensive programs typically are that. They're really intensive. So if you're coming to the table with some knowledge, it's a little bit easier. And also intensives tend to be really difficult to fit in with a full-time schedule. So if you're looking at a program that's intensive, it's probably something that you want to consider your other commitments with, versus a program like this is really built out with a working professional in mind. So built around, people who might be working on a 9-to-5 schedule. They have a significant time commitment for their professional life and their personal. So we try to make it as flexible as possible.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Aubrey. Next question, this might be for Fiona. It's about the course that you're teaching. Would that be more introductory, or is it more advanced in the certificate?
I mean, I would, I'm not sure the language we use, but it's not the intro course. It is later in, it's the, I think it's 622. The name of the course is, I believe it's stakeholders in the evaluation process, or as I like to sort of subtitle it, a human-centered approach to evaluation. So my course very much focuses on the people involved in the evaluation, not just those who are running the evaluation, but the participants in the evaluation and anybody who is impacted by the evaluation, and figuring out what those interactions look like.
Perfect. And I know you touched on this in the beginning, Fiona, but this might be also something that you want to expand upon a little bit. Janelle is asking, what would you say are some key level ups someone taking this certificate would gain if they already work in program evaluation?
I think that's an amazing question, and here's why. Because being involved in program evaluation for the last sort of 10, 15 years of my career, I'm constantly learning. I started out, as I sort of described earlier, with very much a focus on RCTs, random controlled trials, and QEDs, quasi-experimental design, which is very much where the sector was when I was starting out in this area. And then the more I worked with, small community-based organizations, cause-driven organizations, not-for-profits, the more I developed an interest in community-based evaluation, developmental evaluation, participatory evaluation, but those were new skills and paradigms that I had to learn. They had very different theories attached to them than the traditional RCTs did. So it was a learning journey for me. So I think if you work in evaluation, it's a massive field. And you may or may not focus in a particular place, whether it's more around impact evaluation, whether it's more around performance measurement and KPIs, whether it's more around like government frameworks around evaluation, or you may already work in community-based evaluation and want to go the other way. There is always a new aspect of evaluation that is available to learn about, driven partially by the environment that you're working in and what is happening in that environment.
That's a great answer. I think, and yeah, like you said, it was a great question. So thank you for that, Fiona. Next question is about if the courses allow substitution for the program. So are course substitutes allowed? And if yes, how long does it take?
Great question. Thank you. So currently, no, the program does not allow course substitutions. And the reason for that is we understand learners are coming from a variety of different backgrounds. And some of the skills, such as research skills that you may have already had a lot of experience with, say, maybe in your graduate degree program, your PhD, maybe you have some practical experience that you're coming to the table with. What we're trying to do with this program is really make sure that everybody is looking at their research skill set and all those other great skills from a very particular lens and context. So within program evaluation, which might look a little bit different. So it might be very close, but it might be pivoting it just a smidge so that you're looking at things within the same context. It also helps you really reframe those great skills that you've already developed for program evaluation context. So currently we're not accepting any substitutions. But I know for some of our other programs we do. And typically, if you're looking for a little bit of an idea about turnaround time, I would say 1 to 2 weeks in terms of course substitution. So if you do see a certificate at the Chang School, which does accept substitutions, you can absolutely apply. But I would say probably the time frame is about a 1 to 2 week turnaround. Usually it's probably a little bit faster than that, but that's probably the outside that you can expect.
Awesome. I know we had a couple of questions about how to apply, and I did type in the steps, but please feel free to get in touch with us. I'll put my contact information and we can help you with the application and how to apply. Next question is if we can apply the learnings to work at a charitable organization, a nonprofit, or the public sector.
Yes, 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 yes to all. Let me elaborate. So I have worked in the public sector my entire career, but I have also worked with private sector funders, private sector philanthropic funders, banks, social impact funds, that sort of thing. And there isn't a lot of difference across organizations in terms of the way that they look at evaluation. It tends to be a difference across sectors. The healthcare sector is sort of its own sector in regard to evaluation. Medical trials drive a lot of that way of thinking about evaluation. But there's a lot of commonality across public sector, charitable organizations, not-for-profit organizations in terms of the way that evaluation is viewed. Government proper tends to be a little bit more rigorous, a little bit more performance management or performance measurement kind of focused, RCT focused, but again, is moving towards more community-based organization type evaluation. So there's a lot of common threads, and yes, the skills that you learn in program evaluation in these courses should be able to be applied across all sorts of different types of organizations.
Thank you, Fiona. Next question is about will many or most jobs be usually tied to specific funding?
I mean, it really, really depends where you work and what you're doing. So I'll give you some concrete examples. You know, most large government departments, especially the federal level, now have evaluation shops internally whose entire focus is to do program evaluation for government programs, internal government programs. So that's one example of what program evaluation might look like from a government perspective. Also, there are a lot of program evaluation organizations, SRDC, Blueprint, Tamarack. These are all, sort of agencies that just do program evaluation for whoever wants to hire them to do program evaluation. They're sort of free agents. And then on top of that, most sort of government funding, social impact funding now will have a program evaluation requirement. So because they're not large enough to have in-house program evaluators most of the time will then hire program evaluators, freelancers to come in and help them evaluate the program, as is a requirement of the funding. So to answer your question, yes, very often evaluators are brought in because a program funder requires there to be an evaluation, but also very often there are in-house jobs, especially in larger government departments, for program evaluators.
Thank you, Fiona. I know we are just a minute over time, so we'll just take this one last question, which is from Rocky. Rocky, thank you again for your great questions today. So she's saying, I'm looking to move into a program evaluation role from a program coordinator role within a university teaching and learning center. Would you recommend this certificate for me as I transition into an evaluation focused role? I'm guessing it's a yes.
I work a lot with teaching and learning centers, and it's interesting to me that university and college teaching and learning centers are starting to develop in-house program evaluation roles. There's a lot of overlap, and I don't want to belabor it too much because I know we're out of time, but there's a lot of overlap between teaching and learning roles and program evaluation roles. So it's sort of a natural fit almost.
That's great. Thank you again to both of you, Fiona and Aubrey. Thank you, Dave, for answering some questions regarding support. And thank you for everyone attending our online session today. If you're interested in more information about the certificate, please visit our website at continuing.torontomu.ca. And if you have any other questions, please contact me via email at mash.choudhury@torontomu.ca. You will also receive a follow-up email with the information that we shared, the slide deck, and the recording of this session, as well as a survey within 24 to 48 hours. And on behalf of the Chang School and our presenters, thank you for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.